MLB DFS picks Sunday, July 7th. What pitchers have caught my eye? Kyle Gibson, $8,000. Not a bad price for a strong ground ball pitcher with a decent K rate. The walks are a bit of a concern, but the matchup is really not that bad at Washington. Below average ISO, WOBA, WRC plus. Not a home run spot, but seems pretty safe. DJ Hers, Washington has some really good young arms. Good matchup against St. Louis, 114 ISO, 276 WOBA, 79 WRC plus, 31% K rate. Hers just struck out 10 batters in his last matchup against the Mets, and the Mets can hit lefties. They're one of the best teams against lefties. So he shouldn't have a problem against the St. Louis team. Although St. Louis only strikes out 20% of the time against lefties, they don't hit lefties. Against Miami, the opposite end of the spectrum, one of the worst teams against lefties, he struck out 13. He did give up 3 home runs in Colorado recently, but hey, it's Colorado. You like that spot. I was toying around with the idea of Sean Manaea. Stuff looks good this year. He's pitching well. It's getting a good matchup, but his control issues ultimately have me leaning in another direction. Luis Ortiz, a former number 4 prospect, tough rookie season, mainly been used in relief recently. Good strikeout numbers in the minors. He is now back in the rotation. They made some tweaks this year. He's had better control, especially with his fastball and the movement on his fastball. And he recently got a start against Cincinnati, and it was very solid. He went 6 innings, struck out 7 batters, only allowed 4 hits. I believe they mentioned that he only got to a 3-ball count, like maybe once or twice in that game. It is not the safest matchup against the Mets. Although the Mets are much better against lefties, you may take a risk against him. He is only 60. He's $6,400 worth a chance. Michael Mercado, Tampa Bay reliever, kind of traded straight up for another prospect. They kind of flipped pitchers here, and Philly said, now we're going to turn this guy into a starter, see what we can get out of him. So what's the story on Mr. Mercado? Let me go to my notes. AAA this year, a 1.71 ERA and 47 innings pitched. Top 10 prospect, 6'4", tall guy. Also had Tommy John surgery, missed some time in the minors, so that might have had a little bit to do with them, Tampa, letting him go. Not the best matchup, but I think the matchup against Atlanta sometimes is a little bit overrated. This is not the same Atlanta team. A couple bats are getting alive. Austin Riley's coming to life, but Matt Olson isn't, and it's not the most domineering lineup. 24% K rate, through to WOBA 94 WRC plus. I don't think it's a problem to get there. He's not the favorite, obviously, because Ronaldo Lopez is pitching, but hey, whatever. Jonathan Cannon, Edward Cabrera. This is another interesting matchup. 7.5 run total, which makes sense because it is Miami and Chicago. But to see such a low run total for 2 pitchers who aren't really remarkable pitchers yet, Cannon and Cabrera could be. Cannon has great stuff, but he's been very, very inconsistent. What's the story on Cannon? Another one of these young Chicago arms that could be big someday. Number 10, top 10 prospect, has good games, bad games, 6'6" sinker ball guy, which he kind of uses to an advantage. Has a pretty average sweeper, but that average sweeper, he has great command over it. His cutter kind of struggles at times. So we'll see, but it's definitely a matchup at Miami where if the good Cannon shows up, he will absolutely blow this salary away. I mean, it's Miami. Both of these teams, high strikeout rates, low ISOs, low WOBAs. You could go with either guy and be pretty happy with it. Cabrera is going to cost you a little bit more. So what's the story on Mr. Cabrera, number 3 prospect? Dealt with injury issues, command issues, maybe a little bit too many walks, but also high K possibility. Just got back up from the minors in June this month. 2 really good starts, but his most recent start was not very good. The problem you're going to run with Cabrera, which would be the reason I don't roster him, is he didn't go very deep in those minor league starts. I don't think he's stretched out enough, and I would rather take Cannon. I'm really surprised that the White Sox are the underdogs in this matchup. Flirting with the idea of Carlos Carrasco because he did just come off a really solid game, 7 strikeouts. He still allowed 3 earned runs. Giants much better against lefties, so you have the righty on the mound. It's a bit of a benefit, but I don't know if I want to go there. Drake Skubal, lefty against Cincinnati. I don't know if I want to mess around with Great American Small Park. Flipping through, Jose Soriano just got called back up. Was a pretty rough outing, and that was against Oakland. He gave up 4 earned runs. I think it's probably a little bit too early to go in that direction. How about Hayden Wesneski? What we got on this guy? Relief pitcher, converting to being a starting pitcher, number 6 prospect. 7 Ks, I believe, in his last outing, but he has also given up 2 home runs in both of his last 2 outings. So home run concerns, but definitely having strikeout upside with the 24% K rate. His numbers are kind of interesting in his last 2 starts because his swinging strike rate 2 starts ago was 20%, a 20% swinging strike rate. And that was with a 60% first pitch strike rate. So he's not really getting ahead of batters, but his stuff looks pretty good. One of the issues, though, the Angels pretty good versus the slider, but bad versus his cutter. It could go in either direction. At 6,500, I wouldn't worry too much. Is there strikeout potential? There obviously is. 23% K rate, not the greatest offense in Los Angeles, a 93 WRC plus. I think he's got the stuff to get the win done. Who else do we got? Zach Little. Surprisingly, the best pitcher in Tampa's rotation at the moment. Just an efficient guy, pinpoint control, nothing special. On another team, he would be kind of just your quality middle relief, Miles Michaelis type of guy. Just good, not great or amazing. Although his Sierra's 381, 394 ERA, just a very good quality pitcher. Doesn't walk anybody, as you can see, the pinpoint accuracy. Texas, not really that strong of an opponent. So 91 WRC plus. I don't think you mind getting the Little at 6,900. That's a very cheap price. We have a 7.5 run total. Now I know obviously that has a little bit to do with Nathan Eovaldi, who would be maybe one of the better plays, maybe better than Gibson because of the strikeout potential. Got the skills, interactive ERA looks good. The regular ERA looks good. A 25% K rate is very solid, and he's facing Tampa, who strikes out a lot. And that pretty much wraps up the entire slate right there now, doesn't it? How about that? So Eovaldi probably at the top. Gibson up there. I like the DJ. Play another hit. I don't mind going to Mercado. Cannon, I think I will go there and hope for a good Cannon day. A lot of upside. Very affordable. A lot of affordable pitching on the slate. You really don't need to spin up. Now, there's volatility. Absolutely. And Wesneski is going to be a possibility as well. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully those tidbits of information will help you out.